Hello and welcome back to another video. I'm really excited to show you guys about this identity reformation because it has serious value and I think you'll find it amazing if you aren't the person you want to be already. And I'm going to show you not just through some woo-woo manifestation, it's all going to be real neuroscientific proof, neuroscientific manifestation, let's say, of how you can really become the dream you, no matter what that looks like. So we'll get into it now. Basically, what is an identity? Well, in Greek, it's repeated being. It's who you are repeatedly. And in neuroscience, it's the exact same thing, but it's not who you want to be, but who you believe you are. That is exactly what you are. If you believe you are X, you will be X. If you believe you are Y, you will be Y. And what makes these beliefs stronger than others is how many times have you justified this belief? I can't just wake up tomorrow and think I'm something that I'm not. That's not what I'm saying. And the reason why I wouldn't be able to do that is because I know that my actions haven't aligned with who I say I am. For example, if I was a lazy person and I was to say, I am really disciplined, of course my body's not going to believe it. But we can program this to make sure you believe it so it becomes subconscious action. And the reason why we need to change our identity in order to change who we are is because you will always act as who you are 95% of the time, because your identity is programming 95% of your subconscious. 95% of your actions are subconscious, and this runs on your current programming, who you think you are already, and all of your habits stored within it. So if you think you're someone else, the habits will start to change and everything else in your life will change. So what I'm going to talk to you about is the reticular activating system. So first of all, your default mode network is sort of your ego. And when you have this, you have your medial prefrontal cortex and parts of your temporal lobe working together and holding these I am statements. I am this, I am that. So when you have these statements, your reticular activating system works over time to prove yourself correct. For example, if I was to say, I am lazy, I will start noticing opportunities to be lazy. Instead of noticing this book when I was walking around my room, I would have noticed my phone or my TV, and then I would have picked it up and started doing that. That's the reticular activating system at work. So what that means is that we need to change the I am from lazy to disciplined. And how we do that is you do it within writing. You write it every day. I have a journal right here, and in this journal, it's a small part of it, but in this journal I will write who I am at the start of the day. And basically what I mean by who I am is who I want to be. So if I wanted to be fit and strong and jacked, I would say I'm an athlete. I wouldn't say I want to be fit or whatever. I would say I am an athlete. You are supposed to embody the identity of someone you want to be in order to be them. You kind of need to, I saw a really great analogy, I forgot the guy's name, but basically, if you want to fall asleep, you need to pretend to be asleep. And that's the same concept as this. If you want to become someone else, you have to pretend to be them already. And then it sinks in. People think that it's going to happen to them and that one day they'll wake up and they're completely different. No, it's a cumulative effect of you constantly integrating actions that align with the dream you identity. And you have to get specific with what that dream you looks like. Are they really confident, or do they make a lot of money? Are they really at peace with themselves? Do they meditate a lot? No matter what it is, are they a champion in a sport? Who are they? Because that is extremely important to be specific, because if you're not specific, you don't really know where you're going. And the analogy I use for this is that you can't get to your dream house if you don't have the postcode and the address and all the specific destination things. You can't get the correct road there if your answer isn't specific. You can't just be like, oh, well, I want to be rich. Like, you have to be like, oh, I am already wealthy, I am already very successful, and I'm loving what I do, and then find out what you would love to do, and then work from there and succeed in that endeavor. It is genuinely that simple. You just need to be specific and be certain and be sure. Stop worrying, stop doubting, because it's the only thing that's going to pull you down. If it's possible for someone else, it's possible for you. We have the most complex structured system sitting in our head. Not Albert Einstein's, not Nikola Tesla's, yours. You have an extremely powerful, most complex thing on planet in human discovery in your head. You are capable of whatever someone else has been capable of doing. It's whether you believe it or not, that's the limiting factor. So we're going to look at integrating this. So now we're moving on to step 2. The step 1s are, I am an athlete, I am wealthy. You say I am, not I want to be or I will be. You don't say that, you say I am. So we are now going to prove this point. You're going to do a little thing every single day that justifies this belief. You are going to, if you've gone from no working out, you're starting from the bottom and you want to be really jacked and have your dream physique, then I would say do do a 15-minute run that you find uncomfortable, or a short, moderate workout. Don't go hard, just do something that aligns with what you would be doing. So that's for people who want to be jacked and they haven't started working out yet. And for the people that do, just go to the gym and work a harder session than you would normally do. Because the harder the session, the more jacked you're going to be. Not literally, I know, like volume and intensity and stuff like that, but I mean eating better, sleeping better, recovering better. That will start to integrate into your subconscious habits when you truly believe you are. And that's what you'll find when you start doing these micro justifications for these things, when you actually intentionally sleep better and you intentionally eat better and you intentionally work out harder. What you'll find is that your belief of I am jacked strengthens, and this starts to just get rewired and reprogrammed into your system really easily, because you're telling your brain, I am this person, look, I'm doing this and I'm doing that, and that's justification. When you provide logic, it can string it together and justify it and grow it. So once you've done those things, you're now moved on to step 3. Step 3 is use language intentionally. When you use language with intention, and language is really, like, people truly overlook and underestimate the true depth of language. Why you said something one way and not the other way, and why you think to yourself and say these specific words rather than those specific words, and when your brain holds these statements is extremely important, but we won't get into that today. So basically, you are supposed to say, I am the person who stays calm under pressure, I make good decisions, I work around situations intelligently, I don't overreact, I am kind, I am compassionate, I am giving to other people regardless of my own personal situation. When you have these statements and you tell yourself these, you really do start to exhibit them. You just need to repeat it. Repetition behind emotion is going to literally change the way your brain is, and be aware of it. That will change the structure of your brain in certain ways depending on your age. If you're older, then you have to have a lot more awareness, a lot more emotion in tune with it to activate acetylcholine and norepinephrine and various other things. But basically what I'm saying is that it's quite easy to program yourself regardless, and you need to just act in accordance with what you're telling yourself you are. And what you're doing is you're feeding your default mode network a blueprint. So when you are saying, like, I am disciplined and I remain calm under stress and, stuff like that, and I remain confident even when I shouldn't be, like, these situations is, these statements that you give yourself is feeding your brain, your default mode network, a blueprint of, okay, this is what the user wants me to follow. The default mode network will take that in and start to integrate that, because you're now communicating with it and going, I want to be this. And you're becoming aware, becoming emotionally charged behind it, because you can see your life becoming the dream you, and you actually can see what it's like, and you know that it's possible. And those feelings starts to rush and rise within you of what it would actually be like to be at peace with yourself and be successful and have, maybe a family if you would like to do that, or be in a different country, or be a champion at something else. Like, you actually start connecting yourself with these feelings. Like, you do have to be it before you are it. Like, because, for example, a champion becomes a champion because he was acting like a champion before he became a champion. He came to the stage every single time. He was succeeding a lot. He was training hard. Training like a champion is being like a champion, and then you become one. It's the whole system before you actually become it. Then you become classified as it, but you were already doing that anyway. Do you see what I'm saying? Extremely interesting, this one. This is step 4. This is visualization. Visualization is genuinely, it's insane, because you will learn something when you are visualizing it. For example, there was a study done, there's two studies actually, one of them just blows me away. I mean, both of them really do, but yeah, so there was one study where they had one group who were playing piano chords for the first time, learning them, and they had another group that was learning for the first time, but they were visualizing playing piano chords. So you had one group physically doing it, and another group just closing their eyes, visualizing it. And what they found is the neural connections grew the same amount in both groups. What does this tell us? That if we imagine ourselves doing something, to your brain, in terms of learning it and mastering it, it is the exact same as actually doing it. So, you know, that's just mind-blowing already. So you really need to take advantage of visualization, you doing something well and succeeding. And no matter what situation we're talking about, it can be literally anything. If it's you're visualizing yourself talking on stage publicly, for example, and you visualize yourself talking well, talking composed, not stuttering, slurring, getting distracted, all of these different things, that will train your brain to act that out because you've already done it. Do you see what I'm saying? Like, it's so important to master that. So when you're doing these things, visualize it and tag an emotion to it and really feel like you're in there in the moment, because the more in detail that is, the better the neuronal connections will be. So trust me, do that. It will be amazing and it will benefit you on this identity reformation. 5 is understanding that neurons that fire together wire together. So when you're firing these mirror neurons by visualizing, it's also wiring them together. This is called Hebbian learning because you are basically firing these over and over and over again, and the circuits are strengthening because it keeps noticing that these neurons keep firing together specifically. The motor cortex keeps doing this because your mirror neurons basically can trigger your... So for example, if I deeply visualize running, the same neurons going on would be running in my head. That it's weird, it's crazy, but that's how it works. And basically the more you visualize that and the more in detail you visualize it, the more those neural connections strengthen. And the reason why your brain doesn't do this in the first place is because it doesn't like to change. Your brain doesn't like change, it just wants to live. And living is safer when it's consistent. So you have to teach your brain to be comfortable with the unknown, and it is a safe place now. Because your brain doesn't understand that, because the unknown was normally millions and millions of years ago, what it's been developed and engineered into its body is, if I don't know what's going on, I'm probably in danger. Meaning if you're in the dark in the middle of a jungle, you know, it's pretty obvious that's going to be danger. And that was mostly the considered unknown at the time, was that when you didn't know something, it was genuinely quite dangerous. But now that's not the case anymore because, well, I mean, self-explanatory. We all have houses, everything, all of that stuff, and no animals running around killing us. So basically, what you need to do is that when you have this information, you need to integrate it into your subconscious mind, program it, let it simmer in your mind, and eventually your brain will just start to prefer to do it. It will just prefer to look for the positives, look for the success, look for the greatness, instead of looking for the fact that, you know, no one likes you and looking for the fact that this and that. Because if you believe everyone likes you, I'm not saying you should believe that because it's not true for anyone, but like, you will start noticing people liking you more than not liking you, because your brain will start picking up on the micro expressions that suggest that they do like you, and instead of the ones suggesting that they don't like you, because your brain just cares about justifying its own reason to be right. Your brain just likes being right, to be honest. So if you change that belief, you also just, your well-being will begin to change. That's the point I'm trying to say. So if you keep doing these 5 steps on repeat, you will notice that that's how you become the dream you. That's neuroscience backed, the best way to become the dream you. If you try this week after week after week, you will notice change. I've been doing this for a while. I wasn't doing it the best way at the start, but it was sort of this. But the more I did it, the more of the dream me I started to become. And I'm going to do an exercise now that's going to hold me accountable, and you should do the same with someone. Or you can write it down in the comments. I am going to read this. It's being gifted to my friend, and I am currently on page 10. So, next video I make, I will come back to this book, and I will tell you how many pages I've had honestly, and it will be very embarrassing if I have to come back here and say, I'm still on page 10. So that's my accountability. You find someone you trust to do that with as well. And I hope this video really helped you. I promise if you integrate it, it will change things for you. It's truly amazing. And if you drop in the comments, you know, I'm going to come back here in X amount of weeks and see how it's treated me and then come back. I promise you things will change. Just leave it at least 5 to 8 weeks. Okay? Hope you have a good one.